Alright guys, I finally came up with what I wanted to talk about. I realized that talking is not just talking, but deliberate recording. Deliberate, like putting words, deliberate poetry is the flow, is the muse. And I want to record to you guys, or to some way, the flow, the unzipping of the world. And unfortunately, the noise of outside is rather intrusive, so my flow is rapidly deteriorating. I had an idea just right now earlier, but I want to try to get it back. Let's talk about Disney's soul in a little bit. Let's talk about what I see. Let's talk about the loop. That sounds fair. I'm going to say this in a very safe and a very mindful way so you guys understand what I'm talking about. There is a way to see the world that brings peace. There's a way to think about different binaries that also bring peace. But peace doesn't mean peace. It means flow. It means unity. It means continuous flow. And this occurs for everything. Let me quickly get some water. So, some people call it God. Damn, you just started and I already lost you? Well, I'm just going on a meditation right now. All right. For everyone that's here, I'm going to take you on the journey through infinity. I'm going to take you on a journey through infinity. And I hope that you can follow, because this is very serious to me. And this is the root of my Buddhistic suffering. Because I see this loop, I see suffering. So this is samsara. This is suffering. When you repeat a big loop, you're in samsara. You're in suffering. When you complete these minor loops, you are in a group loop. Group loop. Some people call this everything. So this loop exists for everything. For single things, for group things. Some people call it God. Some call it spirituality. Some call it mathematics. Some call it physics. Some call it poetry. Some call it humanity. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. That's all I'll say. Some call it love. Some call it life. Oh my god, I'm going to leave this live with a headache, wondering the fuck everything is. It's going to be worse than a headache. I'm trying to get you to think about life itself. I'm trying to get you to think about how an awakened society would think about the world, should think about the world. In an awakened society, there is free education, free knowledge, I'm going to be taking screenshots, bro. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. I'm going to upload this to YouTube. As long as this doesn't meet a suspension, there's no reason it should. This will be able to be saved as live, and I will upload it to my YouTube channel in my bio. Awakened Society is free education, free knowledge. But it's not just that. An awakened society is self-aware. Self-aware of infinite loops of suffering. Awesome, you should check out that. Alright, so this is gonna not start getting a little scary for some. This is good. This is where it's gonna seem a little blasphemous to God, a little blasphemous to people, to those in charge, to whoever cares about their loop, cares about their ego. This will hurt. But to those who do not care about their ego, this does not hurt. This is liberating. This is freedom. This is peace. This is mutualness. This is empathy. This is life. A society that is awakened may never repeat suffering. Unless they acknowledge. Shit. Sorry, no cussing. Apologize. Acknowledge suffering and love their suffering. Now, suffering has a bad meaning in Buddhism. Suffering does not need to mean suffering. It happens to mean suffering because it actually both love and hate tie you down with ego. Both love and suffering. But love is enjoyment, is passion, is compassion. Regardless, they both tie you to the world. Notice that. Both tie you to world. Now think about another one. What's another binary? Life and death. This is another binary that ties you to your world, if you think about it. If you're alive, you're tied to the living world through ego, if you choose to be ego. Through death, death ties you to the world, whatever world you're in. If you're in the infinite and if you wish to love, wish to live, if you're full of hate and suffering, that'll tie you to the world. Likewise with life. If you're full of love, enjoyment, and passion, compassion, to be locked to the land of dead will tie you to suffering. It seems to me like there are beings of life and there are beings of death who get but one life, but one. And the beings of life get an infinite. These guys get a binary choice. But this is the infinite. Why am I talking about such arbitrary things like spirituality, poetry, humanity, love, life? Why does any of this matter? To many people it doesn't. And I don't expect you to feel otherwise. But there are people who understand the binary nature of reality, who understand the infinite nature of reality, and think they have it fully understood, and think they understand how the binary works and how they can abuse reality. They can abuse reality. They are awakened. They are awakened, trademark. The trademark is a joke. I can't write that. Wow. Sorry. They're just awakened. Yeah. But there are people who take this seriously, who think the loop is everything. And it technically is, but it's not everything in the way they expect it to be. Let us elaborate on this hidden process that is the loop. Okay. Now that you understand this binary infinity principle, binary to infinity, I'm basically trying to teach you guys how to think infinitely. Now that you understand the binary to infinity principle, learn how to apply it. So let's learn. All right. So let's just say for some reason there's a master class and there's a subordinate class. Let's just say that there is a master class, there's a subordinate class. Okay. Now let's say there's a binary. You can only be one or the other. You can't be both. Well, you can be both, but we'll get to why. There can only be one or the other if you want to be a master, and if there was a subordinate class. If there was a subordinate class. But because there must be, quotation mark, must be a master class, there, quotation mark, must be a subordinate class, right? There must be. That is how this thinking works. Because there is a certain group of people who think there must be, out of the infinite choices of personalities of anything, of the binary, because there's an infinite parallel decision tree and there is an infinite binary subordinate tree, this must be an allowable process. This must be allowable. Because, and this is why it's fair and allowed, because the master of your class is the subordinate of another. It goes like this. Because there exists one, and because I'm not at the top, I can do whatever I want to. Does this sound fair? Does this sound fair in thinking about infinity? Because there is an infinite amount of you but a lesser infinite amount of me. Not all infinity are created equal. I agree. And here's why. Let us look at how infinity actually works. They think this is okay. But that's not how it works. This is what actually happens. So, they see it like this. They see it as like a top of a pyramid. That literally is how they see it. Top as a pyramid. There are less, and then there are the privileged few. But no matter what, the pyramid is infinitely more precise, infinitely less, Being at the top of such a massive shape means you must be at the top of the universe, right? You must be at the top, right? I'm at top of universe. I'm at top of universe. Right? No. Because that's not how infinity works. If this was an infinite amount of people or things, and this was an infinite amount of people or things to support you, and this was, 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 your time up there, the amount of energy you burn to exist is tremendous. An aware society would know this. An aware society would seek to live with nature, in unity with nature, share infinities, to recycle, to give birth to new infinities, to expand the pyramid wider. Not smaller, not tighter, but wider. More diverse. Diverse ways of thinking are their own pyramid themselves, with their own hierarchies. The world around you is full of pyramids, of people burning, their ideas burning. And the more it takes to keep an idea going, the bigger its pyramid. The bigger it takes, the more infinity suffering things it takes. This is the aware society. This is how we need to educate people. We need to teach people how to think about infinity and how to think about their role as people in society. You're at the base of here. There is someone here. There is someone there. There is someone here. There is someone there. But notice whose dreams are being fulfilled. He thinks he's happy being an art director. Actually, let's make him the museum attendant. He thinks he's happy being there. He's more sophisticated than that guy. Let's look at the museum curator. Oh, he likes it. He's happy there. Oh, let's look at this guy, the museum owner. Oh, he likes it there. Let's look at that one. Oh, it's the mayor of a big city. Oh, he likes it there. His dream is nice there. What he likes to do as a soul, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with people wanting to be things. Wanting to be things. To be remembered, you have to do something worth remembering. I build rockets to explore the cosmos. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so basically, there's nothing wrong with being a person, being a soul. Lame. To be remembered, you just have to be a good person. To do something worth remembering. You're right. Be a good person, bro. Just be a good person. Because think about it. That's what I was trying to tell you. I'm just telling you about this infinity thing. I was telling you about this. I agree. I think real life human is honestly more genuine than you because he understands how this infinity thing works. You don't get that because you're up here, you think that you're free. You think you're at the top. But now we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. We gotta tone it down a little bit. To live in the universe is to kind of see something like this. All right. And I'm a physicist. I'm not, like, are you happy though? I only want you to be happy, bro. Like, you don't have to do something significant. You just have to be happy. Who cares about being remembered, dude? No one cares. Because no one is going to remember if they don't care about you. Just do something and be happy. Like, I honestly hope you're really, your soul is fulfilled. Like, you did everything you wanted to in this life. That's what I want you to do. I want you to be happy. I want to spread happiness and enlightenment. Honestly, damn, that's powerful. That is powerful, man. Just so people can understand what's going on. He said, "Bro, I was homeless. I am happy forwarding humanity. It's what fulfills me." I agree. You're a true service member. You're a service member. And that also relates to something that I wrote about, which will get published later. Um, it's some veteran writings of what it means to be a serviceman, in my opinion. And I think that people that dedicate themselves to humanity and like some greater goal is what it means to be a service member. I don't think it necessarily, means that you're the guy that, talks the biggest shit. Well, it means that you're the most genuine. Like, you actually did something. You wanted to go out there. You didn't just want to go kill people. You wanted to go out there for something different. You wanted to people. Yeah, like there are actual engineers that work their asses off, that do great things, for people to try to lower wars. Like, there are great people out there. Make a difference. Exactly. That's why I do respect true engineers like yourself. I feel like we need more of those. We need less self-serving people. So yeah. So back to here. So the more almost like the less binaried you are, the less binaried is the higher you are in this weird chain. Like you can be like near infinitely high, but past a certain point, it starts becoming kind of infinitely more difficult to relate to our society. So there's kind of like a deepening progression and a flat line. It's kind of like the legitimately weird human scale. Human scale. Where if you go down to this much, you're like away from nature, but in a different way. If you go down this much, you're kind of not even human at the same time. You're just seeking enlightenment. Like, there's a weird gradient in how to binary things that it gets freaky. And this is how physics feels to me. It gets really weird. But this is the same process that I do for physics, is the same process that people do for coming up with creativity. It's the same thing. It's weird. These are the same ideas. But now we're going to introduce another concept for infinity. So there are alternate universes. Yes, there are. So there's another concept for infinity that I want to... I'm getting a phone call, man. I can't take it. I can't take it right now. Sorry, man. All right. Any questions right now so far? Or you guys keep it up? All right. I'll just keep going for now, but I'll wait for questions in a little bit. All right. What was I going to say? Well, I apologize. This is live, and I'm trying to make this a good video for YouTube as well. Isn't desiring something ego? Yes. Okay. That's what I want to talk about. Yes. Okay. Infinity, I confused by the portrayal of life on the right diagram. Of life on the right diagram? Oh, well, this is what's socially acceptable. Like, look at this, like, just find a binary. Like, you can approach, like, there's different binaries. Like, there's always going to be, like, these alternate, that's why, like, dimensions exist in physics. You don't need them, but there's different ways to view things. So let's say there's a pure infinity. Like, this is the scalar field. This is the thing that we talk about in particle physics that, like, spiritual people talk about. That when you guys talk about the D wave, it's I think it refers to this. This is the scalar 50-50 field. This is where antimatter and matter collapses and collides. This is a pure binary. Pure binary / randomness, RNG. This is where quantum mechanics gets its magical. It's not magical. It seems magical. It's just physics. It gets its weird random properties It's properties that kind of defy all logical expectations from this. So what happened? Thank you very much for sending fire, man. You're fire. So, say the name. NYPC40. Just in case you wanted. Anyways, so there exists a line of a line of required particle states, required information, like basically that pyramid stuff. There exists a line of required infinities, required truths to be true for you to exist, for anything to exist. But let's say this is the societal information. This is the societal information. It's my name backwards. I'm a geek. Lamau. Anyways, this is societal information. This is what we've learned. So with CERN, we've learned that you can kind of, because everything follows this weird binary particle physics rule set, we think that there's a way to find the measurement exchange, the information exchange, that's just like particle physics, which I think exists. There's always going to be an up. There's always going to be a time reversed down. Time reversed. It's weird, but I think antimatter is more time reversed matter. I think that's kind of an agreed upon theory in some aspects of physics, and as I've researched, but it's not necessarily mainstream. But I think time reversed matter makes so much sense in terms of like the Feynman diagrams. Like it just works really well because you can do time reversed matter, and that can basically, specifically for the quarks, like they just look so nice. I'll explain about that in a little bit with my standard model theory, but we've already done the standard model theories plenty of times. I can't watch the entire live. Can you do YouTube vid? Oh, I am. It's going to be posted on YouTube. What's the point leading to here? Not to be rude. Good question. So basically, I'm trying to say that there exists a binary for society, which we know exists. So because it exists, there also, like this is like a weird information pyramid for society to exist, for our society to exist. But for the universe to exist / Earth to exist, we only need, say, the fundamental particles of physics, which is true. And this is where the kind of weird dark matter stuff start coming in. Yo, do wave particle duality, so like a matrix. Exactly, there is a matrix. So it's kind of amazing how much less information is almost less. How much, actually more information, because it takes less and less to get to the top of the pyramid. How much more information is required? This is just matter. This is just matter in the form of up, down, and that's it. Like we only exist in the first energy regime in physics. Like for the standard model, there's the charm and the strange, there's the top and the bottom, but we only exist in the first. And so that means we only need like this much. But there's more information out there though. This is how consciousness exists. Consciousness is actually a very, very difficult binary decision tree. And it makes sense. Because at first you need matter. But then you need biological rules like DNA. You need chemistry. But then you need biology rules. But then you need psychological rules. So consciousness, how your brain works. But then you need societal rules. And then you need the theory of mind, which is you. That's what you think you are. Thus, we can model the human consciousness as simply the required energy. The required energy for you, for your additional bit of information to exist. Because of social conditioning, you get further from the base. That's honestly a very good... Yes, that's actually exactly what I wanted to say. I just don't want to say it in a way that kind of sounds kind of not agreeable or not acceptable. So is there a single consciousness as well as a societal consciousness? In my opinion, I think that is undoubtedly true. Here's why. So now that we understand that there's this weird information flow and that exists, this is my theory of consciousness / the universe. My theory is that because there's this weird information flow of binary, you can never die. Well, quantum immortality exists, but you will die from this universe. So sorry, can't cuss. Don't do anything dumb. But you can never destroy a soul, technically. Like, there's like a binary information tree. This is basically your universe. If you think about terms like parallel universe, there's a binary decision tree always happening. Always happening. Like, there are things, like, it's literally like an Einstein light cone. Like, there are certain probabilities and possibilities for you. Like, suppose this light cone, if I draw it correctly, suppose that is the maximum, from this starting point, is the maximum degree of freedoms. If random fluctuations were slightly different, and you made a different binary choice, a different probability, then your path would change in a different direction. This is how we model people. It seems like we're born to be selfish at the top, but grow out of it. I very much agree. I think we're born to be selfish, but we shouldn't necessarily listen to that. So are there ghosts? I think undoubtedly so, and I think here's how we can measure them. Our bodies can be destroyed, but collectively our energy lives on everything. Yes, your energy is just manifestations of like randomness. It's kind of a weird way if you think about it. Have you ever wondered, how do we exist as like consciousness? Like, why do we exist? What is our body and what are we doing and how did we get here? Life is weird. Life is very weird. How do we make emergent phenomenon from these basic principles? So the way we do it is kind of terrifying. I think that we are, and it's not a controversial view. This is actually what these kind of like occulty people, I think about. Yes, I'm recording this. It's going to be uploaded to YouTube. We are kind of just robots in a way. Like, our body is just robots. But for some reason, we have the ability, like, the brain is just like a place. The brain is just a place that random, like, number manipulation, random number generator, like, manipulation can occur. So it's weird. It's like, and what this means, because there are some weird observed phenomenon. Our bodies are just vehicles for this consciousness. Yes, it's because consciousness follows this weird, like, disturbing binary pattern. Like, it disturbs binaries, 0 and 1. But the scalar field is pure binary, pure chance. This is where infinity is. Infinity is both equal probability, it's pure creativity, it's alternate timelines, it's different universes. The scalar is everything and nothing at the same time. You can be anything. But because you can be anything, if you go into that as like a weird soul or whatever the hell, if you go into that, so basically if you die, theoretically, you could have the choice of, hey, I don't want to have to go back to this matter and then start again. I don't really care about that. I don't really care about your universe. I'd rather go live in a better one. Then you go into the scalar field and you just leave. Like, when you die, imagine if we tell people when they die, they have the choice. You can leave. Like, if you don't like the way, like, everyone treated you in this life, leave. Like, it's up to you. Like, when you are in the scalar, when you go back to the scalar when you die, like, you have the ability to do anything you want. But do you care? Do you want it? This is what Buddhism tries to talk about. Like you have anything you want because it's just like, if you can imagine it. If your concept of mind is able to, like, imagine a universe, yeah, you can imagine it to be the way you want it to be, but because you don't understand how to generate this amazing universe and its complicated stuff, you can't do it. But why would you want to when you can just go into a new universe, one that's already done, one that's done all the work for you? Judaism teaches the same. I do agree. Yes, we are in a plane of energies, in theory. I do agree. So what's your view on how the brain defines the relational content of consciousness? And have you ever wondered behind the mathematics behind it? I think it's weird because the way we manipulate consciousness is different than how we experience reality. How we experience reality is on the 0-1 binary. It is on this. But we have infinite derivatives, not infinite. It's actually finite, and that's what's sad about it. If you look at how we experience things and how reality works for us as physical creatures in this world, it's not infinite. You're actually right. It's discrete because of quantum mechanics. You experience in discrete quantities. However, don't let this, are you not limited by the vessel? You probably are limited by the vessel, honestly. That's probably why some religions care so much to take care of the body, which I think you should. If you care about living on this planet, I guess. Are you telling me we're an experiment? No. Our body is an extension of our brain. I agree. So CERN is trying to influence our consciousness choices, aka the binary. It's possible. Theoretically, it's possible, which is I've been noticing. If you could somehow tap the scalar field and create, some matter, antimatter, you're basically tapping the scalar field. You're giving energy into the scalar field. Therefore, theoretically, scalar / RNG potentials are easier to be manipulated. Theoretically. Theoretically, you could, because let's talk about, future physics. Let's talk about the physics that would be required for a super advanced civilization to talk faster than light. Because we know that consciousness is RNG manipulation within the brain, it's really weird. It's basically you control these binaries and you somehow randomly make decisions. We can control what seems to be randomness in our brain. That's how we fire things as neurons, which is weird. Therefore, are we electromagnetic? What is consciousness? Let's try to figure things out. That's the goal of the universe. That's the goal of being an advanced society. Should we not mock consciousness studies? We should actually learn about it. We should learn how to manipulate reality, how to basically control, why we exist, and what everything is. So now let's get to advanced civilizations. What is theoretically possible? All right. So an advanced civilization could somehow tap this scalar field, so we know it exists. We have a scalar field. It's all this means, for some reason, is that there's a 50-50, wouldn't have to be the experience of the physical plane. So the physical plane, what I've observed, is just the particle physics of the fundamental rule set of our universe, the fundamental particles. These particles, as far as we understand, are the fundamental ones. That's it. But electron isn't fundamental, as I've noticed. It's actually a U minus d bar, I think, like a pseudo d bar. The reason I write it like this is because it's an owed energy state, and that's what explains why the electron is so massless. Not massless, but so light, because it owes energy, which also then explains why the neutrino, electron antineutrino, is the way it is. But that's other stuff. So you basically look at the fundamental particles of your plane. What are the main three? So we see it's basically these. These are the main building blocks. It looks like we are human Tesla coils. You're getting to the end, and I do agree. It's kind of freaky. So these are the fundamental, just for mass to exist. This is for mass / matter. Matter. This is for matters and mass. However, the weird thing is that it isn't just these. Chemistry still exists. And chemistry is tons of these combinations. That's the boundary of the universe again. Now it's chemistry. And now we go up to another very complicated binary rule set of particle interactions. That's the line of biology. Nobody understands what consciousness is or how it works, or quantum mechanics either, for that matter. Is it a coincidence or by design? I think it's just us not carefully considering the rules of physics. We are all connected, and electromagnetics is the reason for herd mentality. Perhaps, honestly, perhaps. Like there are some pretty good theoretical possibilities for consciousness and possibilities for synchronicity amongst people. There are some good so here's one hypothesis about why people come up with ideas and how creativity exists. So there's an observed phenomenon, hardest physics series in undergraduate, quantum mechanics. You got to take it so seriously, and it's super hard. It's not even that mathematically hard. It is mathematically. It's more about differential equations. So good luck with that. I hate those. But that's quantum mechanics. Do we understand quantum mechanics needs an observer? Yes, we do. But here's a really cool thing about why creativity exists and why I think this is how consciousness works. So there's already exists these statistical things you can observe. If you just do a random point plot generator of random numbers on Earth, you will get spots with okay, let's just say this was a 0, this was a 1, that's a 1, that's a 0, that's a 1, that's a 0. Statistically, everywhere else is statistically random. Statistically random for the number of particles to be there. It's we expect to be there some, but for the ones, there are tons of particles. For some reason, there are just tons of these dots, like in our random number generator. Oh, that must be some point. There exists these weird, places with tons of randomness, tons of points, and there exists to be voids. Things with an absence, so an abnormal absence of randomly generated points. Could metamechanics be a new field of study? I honestly agree. I think it can be, but I don't think it's necessarily metamechanics. I think it's data mechanics. It's weird. I think that data theory explains everything, honestly. Data theory and quantum mechanics. You have to see things as bits of information in a way. Because if you're trying to go for fundamental information, it's bits. Because that's the most that we can see and the least that we can see. That's why quantum mechanics exists. Because no matter what, at the smallest scale, it kind of makes sense philosophically a little bit that because how we measure things in the world, we have to use the world itself. We'll always find some limited scale by which to measure the world, which is the world itself. That's why the limit is quantum mechanics. Why there's a bit-like nature to things. It's just our inability to measure that precisely. But there's nothing wrong with that. All right. So because this randomness exists, asymptotes, for example. Yeah? Exactly. All right. So what are we trying to cover next? So we covered the infinity. Okay. Now let's talk about creativity. What if we could measure it perfectly? And what if it wasn't random? The interesting thing is that there is... Okay, so you're asking about two different things. What if we can measure it perfectly? I do agree. That's for particle physics. And yes, I think we can. So I don't think particle physics is random, necessarily, which I think is beautiful. We have to accept that it's not necessarily random. Certain things are, though. Certain things are predictably random, or what that means is measurably random. When that's different than theoretically random. So, good questions. So here's what I mean. There is a way to measure precision with geodesics. So this model of the universe, I think, is just for real quick, because he's a math guy and he wants to really know. So with geodesics, if you follow the curve along a particle or a wave using quantum mechanics, this is relativity, but with quantum mechanics. This is where it gets kind of difficult, and this is why you can't measure things using geodesics. if you let something happen and it goes all the way around, it's going to move at a different angle than if it approached on the side and only went over there. Like, two near points can have different trajectories, completely different trajectories, which looks chaotic to the physicist. Which, if we observe in like color theory, be like, whoa, the gradients are so off, man. This must be something that's completely random. No, it's just that your model doesn't necessarily capture this. And funnily enough, this observed loop can actually be attributed to spin. That's fascinating. This direction can be attributed to spin. Interesting. So that's just one tidbit. So that's why, yes, you can have infinite precision, but even if you could, because you're using geodesics themselves, you never can. So that's why fundamental physicists should not care about precision past using the particles themselves. Once you get to a certain point, which we have in quantum mechanics, it's just data theory and quantum mechanics. That answers why you don't need to be trying to increase precision. You can, but it's up to you. Science and consciousness have yet to come together. I do agree. All right, so let's get back to creativity and infinity. So now that we realize that's how group thinking can occur, just by random points on Earth, which are very weird concentrated groups, there exists other binaries too. So for creativity, every time you seek to generate something from the world, such as me right now, you have to be in a meditative flow. So to be in the flow, you have to be open to traversing these binary trees freely. So every time I go to a different tree, I have two different options. And I pick a different option and I go through. But I go through them confidently, knowing what I chose. If you don't remember and know what you chose and know what string of, this is literally like code. This is why I'm kind of like telling people like, you're going to need to learn how to code because this is literally how the universe works. So get ready. So we're going to say this is a string. String is like for this term, string is like a small snippet of the loop. It's like where you're starting from. It's like an index. So you can do / index. All right, another thing. So now let's start at something. So let's explain where I started at. I started with language. For this, I can choose where to start. Are we making if-or statements? Yes, we're making if-or statements. That's actually, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I'm not really good at coding. I just accidentally learned how to code by doing physics. I learned how data structures work accidentally. So yeah, it seems to me like I go from language and I say, do I want to stay in language? That's a question. If so, yes, stay. If not, find an or. That's a very good thing. So we face a binary choice. Binary, then we have an infinite choice. Or near infinite. So now, it's not actually infinite. And the reason it's not actually infinite, even though we had an infinite choice to talk about anything, is because we needed to consider a further binary. And this is how the universe works. This is how, coherent language works. Coherency works. Learning how to program is learning how to think. I honestly agree. It's crazy. So, I can choose to go to a completely infinite topic, like a perfectly infinite topic, but it wouldn't matter unless you're ready and prepared to make an infinite leap of logic, an infinite jump like, hey, we're not talking about language anymore. We're going to talk about fluke laws and the rules of fluke laws. Couldn't that be considered the act of free will? If we do it. And that is where it gets okay, now you're asking a really terrifying question, Eliza Kenan. This binary theory and it's specifically this choice group. This is the cone of congruency. If I had free will, I could talk about the flupas, and you would just listen. You would listen. Do you get me? Like I could talk about the flupas and the dorps and how they work. But that doesn't matter. Do you get me? Like, what matters is coherency. Like, no one cares if you talk about the flupas and the dorpas. That's infinite. That's free will. But is it really free will that's worth living? That's worth making? It's not. That is how control works. So, but yes, you can talk about the flupas and the dorpas if you make a story with them. But even then, stories that are coherent must go back to the loop. And they go in the loop of 36 archetypes. And this is why Buddhism, code, language, and coherency, like special relativity with the light cones, all connect. It's terrifying. Are we witnessing a live breakdown? Yeah, I'm breaking this down in public, so how we can like explain how you guys can apply infinite thinking. So yeah, it's basically there's a coherency cone. This is also like in relativity, they call it like the I forget what it's called, light cone, or the cone of possibility, the cone of future action. This is how you can trace people using binary. Theoretically, you can have an algorithm, a learning algorithm, learn how to fight people. I'm going to change the world now with this knowledge. Wouldn't the constraints make up the argument for destiny? Yes, exactly. Well, yes and no. It explains the Illuminati logo. I guess it's up to you. So wouldn't constraints make the argument for destiny? Yes. So unfortunately, this coherency requirement inherently almost seems to kill free will. Almost. Just because there does exist some theoretical binary decision tree, just because there does exist, does not mean I cannot act with free will. You have to get out of the loop. I know, I'm telling you, you can't get out of the loop unless you don't talk about every way to get out. Do you think the same principles will stay the same even on different worlds as dimensions? Yes, I know they do. These are just binary principles. These are binary principles. And I actually questioned that. I asked that question myself. Before I even got into the study of the binary, I questioned myself, like, what is the most fundamental thing you need for anything to exist in the universe? Turns out, binary as a concept is the only thing you need for anything to exist at all. Because anything exists, like, you don't get me when I mean that. Like, there didn't need to be a God, there didn't need to be a single atom, there didn't need to be a random fluctuation, there didn't need to be jack, there didn't need to be anything. Not light, not dark, not atoms, not people, not even language, no thoughts, no gods, nothing. All there needed to be was the concept of binary. That something could exist. Does something exist? Yes. Does something not exist? No. That's all you need. Because you don't say what exists, you only say the concept of binary needs to exist, everything else can exist. So therefore, there technically needs to be only one universe with the rules such that that it contains the rule that a binary or binaries can exist. And that's how the universe works. Because it's the most simple and the most elegant, what's it called? Oh, man. You know. Shallah. I agree. That's why I realize, like, we are the same people, Yeshua Zura. We are the same people. I understand that this isn't something that, people should talk about readily, but I think we should talk about this. I think we should. Let me read your questions real quick. Overcome the archetypes. There's only so much free will. I do agree. Heisenberg at certain principle definitely throws out the possibility of destiny. You'd be surprised. Actually, okay, you're right. Okay, let's not BS. You're right. But the weird thing is that particle physics still has rules. So we basically proved that there are rules to the binary. So we don't get free will from matter. We don't get free will from chemistry. We don't get free will from biology. So what do we get free will from? From choice, from information. That's all you have. The only thing you have for free will is information itself, is this decision tree. And I realized if you have an advanced enough algorithm, you can find out exactly where somebody is in their mind. You can find exactly where someone is and predict their next move. But not predict. Predict precisely. Precise. Next move. You can predict their local region within the maximum flow rate of time and possibility. Yes, you can predict their possible next choice. But they can still move left and right in their binary. That is how that works. Let's have some questions. Love you. We need to discuss this. Shot did I miss? Pregnant wife needed a snack. Lol. Data. How would you set up constraints to measure consciousness in nature? That's a really good question. I actually did kind of think about that, but I think it's kind of scary and freaky. Well, if you do want to seriously know, you're going to need to look at my particle physics rules. There seems to be just these 4 types of fundamental interactions for information. There's W plus, which is the up and the down bar. There's the W minus, which is the up bar and the down. There's the Z plus, which is the up and the up bar. There's the Z down, or Z minus, which is down bar. Honestly, calling it Z up and Z down will probably be way easier to understand than Z positive and Z negative. I like Z up and Z down. That sounds cooler. Thank you for that. Anyways, these are the 4 fundamental mediators that can do all of the standard model physics that I've noticed, which kind of makes sense because they satisfy the conditions for being a fundamental binary of the universe. That's a binary, and that's a binary. All you need are 2 basis vectors in mathematics that are of complete opposite angles to get an entire infinite space, which is 2D. Because we get an entire infinite set with these 2 vectors, we get a third vector, choice. But this third vector can be represented not as just the sum of these 2, but as an idea of these 2. So that in itself doesn't necessarily have a full degree of freedom, but it also itself has a pseudo degree of freedom. It's 1D. But it's solid. That's like solid information. That's information. Each time beings create their own reality around them, the universe is us and creates the world from our perspective of it. So a form of telepathy. What makes you are the choices you make. That's Vedic astrology in a nutshell. They are stuck within a story. It's programming. Be safe. Hope they don't take you out. We'll protect you. Magellan is an archetype today of her feast day, so everyone's part of her story. Z up, Z down. 722 pi. Don't know what that is. What's the Srivasa Ramanujan's proof? That's what Srivasa Ramanujan's proof looked like in his notebook. Wow, amazing. What's your opinion on Sheldon Cooper? It's a really dumb... Is that the character from Big Bang Show? I think it's dumb. My mind is sludge. I hope you were keeping up. You prove my theories that 1D is source. It's known to be the source, the scalar. It's really cool. So if you could somehow manipulate... I think fire might be related to this. Fire might be related to the scalar. Not perfectly, but because it's energy. It seems to me like this is like... Well, I know for a fact the 50-50 scale is how photons travel. Photons travel perfectly with no loss. The more you are in the medium of matter, the more you're matter-like, the more energy you lose, and that's why we have the relation delta E, delta T in the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. We also have the position momentum, but position momentum is honestly more kind of like this. There's position, and then there's momentum. But in this side, there's actually, it's written the same way. There's time, and then there's energy. But you can only get so much of both. And that is where standard particle physics worked as well. What is this? Like literal fire? Yes, like literal fire. That's how breathing and like meditation, I think, works. I don't know. I don't know how this stuff works. I'm just trying to. I want to tap that scalar field, but without having to need antimatter, without having to like need a full CERN reactor. You get me? I want to try to tap that scalar field to use it for whatever I want to use it for. I bend fire. That sounds cool. I guess we could talk. I don't know where my buddy Josh is. He said he wanted to go live. Where is he? I commune with extreme fire and flow. Nice. Wait, what does CERN use it for? CERN uses it for data collection, and basically they've already figured out how to use this, but for people, it's that mind thing that I was telling you about. It's basically just like tracking surveillance. I don't really care about that path. I don't care about surveillance. I don't care about any of that stuff. I care more about like, all right, so what can we do with infinity now? I think we should embrace this infinite thinking, and we should tell people like, hey man, you have a choice as a soul to live and to just be chill. Like out of the infinite choices of realities you could live, you're alive right now, and you're choosing to live right now. Like I want people to be happy. So using this knowledge, I'm now call to action. Can we become energetic beings in this theory? When you die, you are an energetic being, but you're alive now, so enjoy it. Well, you're technically energetic, but just keep your life. Life is just yes or no. The rest of the words are just fluff. Are we manipulated to work to live instead of live to work? No. I think we are being manipulated for work to live. Like there's nothing wrong with life. You know, yet these people just treat your life like a vagrant. That you know, you're not allowed to live, you're not allowed to just to enjoy life. You have to burn your fuel, you have to burn your existence. Burn your existence, burn your soul to let some guy burn everybody's soul for his happiness. I think as an aware society, we should focus on happiness of everyone. You know, I don't think his soul or his meaningful, valid existence is any more valid than ours. If you wanted to be a selfish soul, you will get the next chance. Like you will get a chance, and that's how they justify it. They claim that's why reincarnation has always existed as a way to like subvert and to keep societies unaware. They'll teach you about reincarnation just until it makes them feel okay. They don't want to teach people about reincarnation in a civil society because they realize that, wait, if you're telling me that I have to wait for next cycle to become a king, like why should I wait? Why can't you just like respect me now? Why do I have to wait? Why do I have to like die and let you be evil? Like you're basically asking me, "Hey bro, do you mind like working for me for the rest of your life so then I can live the life of luxury?" Well, only if it's my turn next. Oh, sure. And that's how that works. The spirit is eternal. There is no death. Yes, of course it's eternal, but that's not cool. That's not cool. We know it's eternal. So why is this okay? Exactly. That is what it is. That's what the Disney Soul movie's about, bro. Like, you're supposed to respect everybody's soul. Who is this powerful being you're talking about? Whoever is not being a human to you. Whoever's not respecting you as a person. Work together with people that are in your same niche interest group, grind and shine. The evil, powerful... I can't say that. What religion are you? I'm my own religion. Honestly, I don't know, man. I don't know anymore. I'm just a physicist. That's my religion. This stuff is weird. They know it's eternal and they're still cheating and using us. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, they have physicists telling them, don't worry, bro. You're gonna live forever. Like, that's not cool. Why should they? Why should they know everything? Why should they know that life is infinite? Oh, Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, bro. Like we discovered life was infinite like 2,000 years ago, but we just didn't want to like tell you cuz you know how like dangerous that would be to the average people? That's not cool, man. Where'd you go for school? Uh you haven't read the Reg Vada. UCLA. I'm a physicist. Where or for whom did you learn this? I learned this by studying the binary, and then I realized like there's a binary to like to everything. It is raw knowledge. Honestly, it's nothing crazy. Like it's easy. It's just like no one will believe you unless you can do physics to prove it. So I did, and I basically am telling you because there's an infinity. This is the infinity they believe in. They think, oh well, it's okay because there's an infinite number of possible lives for you to choose from. You know, you just got unlucky and you got a bad one. But when you're reborn, you might get a good one. And so because there's an infinitely more good lives than bad lives, theoretically, it should be okay. That's why they can get away laughing at you. They think it's okay. They think it's okay. Do you recommend any textbooks, books on the subject? Study physics. And study like not you don't have to study infinity. Just honestly read Buddhism. Read about Buddhism and think about it in terms of infinity. Like apply this infinite thinking of binaries and coding and language and like find the truth trees. That's what I've learned. Nobody can hide anything from you as long as they have their own truth. Like here's something that you have to know. Like food needs to be like respected, but it's not. That's all I'll say. Own opinion, you will end up the same boat if you cut your life short. I agree. I agree. Exactly. The burning the soul enough to make someone else happy is a wild thought. Well, you are doing that. You're always burning your life away, technically. But is it up to chance that we get a good life? I don't think it's up to chance, but that they're trying to claim. They're trying to use this bad infinite logic. Like, oh, you just got a bad one, bro. Sorry. Like, is that fair? We're an intellectual society. We have science. We have books. Like, you don't need religion. Religion's just keeping you back. You need to know infinity. You need to learn. To know what you have the choice to do, to know what infinity, to know what is your choice. That is what you really need to know. Ascended Masters, have you heard of them? No. Thoughts on Greek philosophers? Well, they had intelligence, but I think the truest books of philosophy, like there's no way we're the first people to think about this. There's no way the common peasants are unless this is the first time in history. How have you proved reincarnation through binary? Well, so here's why. So there's a scalar field, and you don't need to have everything for you to exist. You don't need everything. You don't need to make the entire universe for you to exist. Actually, you're very light. You're very easy to make exist. So you're just a binary tree of logic. You're like a radio. Because there exist these weird gaps of random number generator in the universe, it seems to be like the brain is just using random number generator manipulation, binary choices. In other words, electromagnetism and just basic physics. You're just a vessel. Because all you need to do is kind of like affect randomness, which we have observed that ghosts can do with ghost radios. Therefore, it seems to me like it's almost like if you get lucky and you go back into the universe, like you don't have control because everyone's trying to come back. You get me? Everyone's trying to basically go to a new one. So either you enjoy the infinite or you go back and you try again. Think about Rory. They're trying to basically teach us that you're like Rory, like that Rick and Morty stuff, like the Rory game. Like you out of all the things that you could have made Rory do, you chose to be a carpet salesman. Like that is what life is, and they know that, and so they chose to be kings. They chose to be business people. But like honestly, is that fulfilling? No, it's not. It's not fulfilling. Last questions. You think we chose our physical lives in a non-physical state pre-birth? Probably. This is not knowledge they want out there. I know. I do agree. This is related to, I can't say the K, but it's related to cabs. It's related to cabs. You crazy, brother. Nobody, it's immortal. Nobody knows how infinity it's experienced. No, you actually can like reach infinity, and there are sound concepts like the what's it called? The coherency cone that exist. You can only ever talk about things that are possible. Like they don't understand how to use the binary for good. They only want to use the binary and the master of infinity for evil. That's why humanity and society goes in a bad direction. They want to just it's a great deception. They want deception because deception's easy, but truth and enlightenment would actually free society. We would actually live longer, much more peacefully. Don't listen to Gaslighter, Chained by Dogma. Honestly, agree. Can you quickly show the loot page? Sure. Oh. There you go. Brother, you must be 27, but by your 70, you realize books can be changed. I'm 22. You choose your hardships so you can increase your level of enlightenment. Damn, bro, I did not want this. I would have loved to live a peaceful, chill life, honestly. I just want to live a good life. I just want to be happy. But I guess I can't be happy because I got to always be on edge. Always got to be taking care of myself because, you know, you got to work hard to get a house. But nope, houses are super expensive. Nope, you can't have that. Nope, you got to be regulated. Nope, you got to do this. Just leave me alone, man. Let me be chill. Does having the ability to understand and manipulate our environment technically mean we are God? It's up to you. But what does make you a... Like, no, you're not God. You're just a consciousness. Like, I don't think we should care about being God. We're all the same. We're all just consciousnesses. We're all equal. That's what I'm trying to say. That their fire is equal to your fire. And they know this. But they're why can't we just talk about this as a society, bro? Why can't we just talk and say, if someone said, may I please be CEO? I would say, why not? Go ahead. Be happy. You know? No sweat off my whatever. Like, I don't care. But if someone says, may I be Baker? It's no. May I be Baker? But the weird thing is that you're going to have to realize is there's also criminals. And that is why awareness is kind of a hard thing to ask. Like, someone asks whenever they do bad things, you know, it's like, may I be thief for, like, living? May I be thief? Some people think this is okay. Some people think it's okay to live their fire, to live their happiness. Oh, I'm happy being a thief. Well, technically, all of our fires are equal. So how do we make these decisions? That is the struggle of life. That is the struggle of infinities. To realize that you're but one fire, but one eyeball, but one consciousness in the universe is to see your place in the infinite array. Here's an example. We're going to draw an artistic scene real quick. This is just an example of a show I saw. Suppose you're in a safe community, you know? You look and you see the people outside, but you have walls. You have walls, and that keeps people out. There's someone walking, their dog, and they're happy. They live a happy life. But there are people right here, starving. There are people right here, drunk with bottles and pee. But there are people right here, waiting to steal when you leave. Now, who's who? Where are these people? Who's being who and who's on top of who? When you look at the regime of society, there are people yet in bigger buildings, in bigger houses, and bigger places, with even more luxurious lives, with even greater fencing, with even greater distances. And you see the scales of reality, and you see the slums. But you also see peace out here, because not everything is bad. Even amongst, trash, even amongst fire and rubble, even amongst everything, you'll see kids playing. You'll see people resting, because people want to be people. But people don't do that much anymore in my old town. You'll see people suffering. People sitting in the sun. People sad. People wondering where their lives have gone. People burning their fires. Burning their fires. So then, these people, it's not these people, but so the people far above, and so the fires stack. But you realize that the universe gets more broad this way. You approach infinity. You approach less order, more chaos. The higher you go, the more precise you get, there's more order. The less you go, there's more chaos. Humans like a good in between. That's why some people are happy in the suburbs. Their flames burn happily. They're scared of the criminals, so they don't necessarily have a full life. These people, they're scared of poverty. They're scared of the suburbs. They're scared of all these things. They're scared of that. But, in other words, they're happy. Because what is that a real fear? You're scared of genuine people. These people are genuine. Yeah, these thieves. Yeah, you should be scared of those guys. But who isn't? Who isn't aware of these guys? The peaceful people, the children as they play, the suburbans, everybody in the actual grounded world that actually are people, they understand. We fear these as a society. But they want us to fear them, though they were once us. They are people too. They are souls too. They are lost. Likewise, those amongst the top are equally lost in their cycle of suffering. Alright, now let's talk about things. Do you think the harder the life, the bigger the reward in the infinite? There's no reward. It's just enjoy. Enjoy your life. How am I a physicist if I'm 22? Because I got a degree and I'm good at doing physics. Therefore, I'm a physicist. We are all collectively God. You can call it God. I just call it consciousness. We're all just consciousness. We should all respect each other as brothers and sisters, but indeed, time continuous. Thought that would send heart, not laugh. And new generation is not teach about respect. I do agree you should teach about respect. The source, dark matter, and hydrogen as no brother and sister but you. I hate people that are blinded by one belief. I do agree. You and me are the same electron passing itself is endless possibilities at the same exact time. I do agree. Love and hate are more alike than they are different. Exactly. Do bad things. Facts. Good needs evil to coexist. I do agree, but it doesn't need evil to coexist. You don't need evil is what an aware society realizes. You don't need it. You only need it if that's what you crave. If you crave evil, then you want evil. Because you want to fight evil. But we should at least have that defense. The ability to fight evil. That's what we need. As people. Because we're not gods. We're not infinite. We have to fight this. What is right? What is wrong? We need to discuss this as a society. As a society, we need to discuss this. Not as lawmakers, but as a society. We need to decide, well, who gets to be who? Who matters? It's us. You draw like a third grader? I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I'm not trying to give you a full art drawing right now. Tesla was 26 when he started working for Edison. Age ain't nothing. I honestly agree. Well, Isaac Newton was freaking 21 when he posted Principia. I guess I'm a year late. How old are you when you learn all this? February. So 21. Where drawings aren't as good as my mind would do. Can we find a way to separate the light beings from the dark beings if we are infinite and cause? Maybe, but we can't. Like, we can only see them. That's all we can do. It's like the allegory of the cave. I agree. Each other's stress. Why not separate our realities? What is light and dark? All human perceptions. There's also evil amongst the rich. For real. I understand your point of view, but unfortunately, humans will choose whatever they want. Without chaos, there's nothing universe chaos to think. We think that is logic. Wants to do with their life. Those who control energy control people, control choices or limit choices of people. Invisible made visible, dark matter and hydrogen. Ooh, dark matter. So morals genetic? So are morals genetic? I don't think so. No, morals are just your binary trees. Whatever binary tree you think is acceptable, that's morals are logic. That's all it is. It's like morals are literally like yes, no questions. It's like, do I believe in this? Do I believe in that? Do I believe in this? Do I believe in that? But morals are kind of more abstract because they're not different. They're not a single binary. They're of a continuous same like line. Like, imagine this is a line and it's actually a loop just because it keeps going forever. But that's just how we represent it. And there are many different choices, moral choices, you know, but they're different. So you could have some turned off. You can have some go the other way, the other direction. But that's you. It's your choice. You choose your morals. Like this is how logic works, how the binary works. You got to keep reading. So what's the plan? How are we going to move forward with what you know? How will you reach the S? You just describe society. What's your point? What happens when we die? What's the line called again? Starts with an S. The scalar field. I don't understand why others feel the need to tell someone their truth is correct. I do agree. Addictions can pass through DNA. It's fascinating. Like after we die, if you agree, cool. If you don't, move on. What's the difference between physics and logic? If you're asking me to be a communist, done. I'm not asking you to be a communist. I'm asking you to just be a human being that basically is demanding like basic respect. Like, hey, what do I want? What should I do? And what do I want to do? Like, I basically say, hey, I'm a physicist. Is this something that you guys want me to do? And society's like, yeah, okay, cool. I will stay being physicist. You know, that's what I think we should be doing. Like, if someone wants to be a construction worker, hey, I want to be a construction worker. Why? I love to work. Okay, go be one. You know, I'll make sure you're taken care of. Like, we're all should be just. We have the technology. We have the actual like sustainability. Why can't we just start being peaceful to each other, like real to each other? I guess if there's no last diagrams we wish to discuss or talk about, I think that was a successful live. So how are you going to attempt to tap the scalar field? I noticed that meditation is literally like just using the infinity. So whenever I go to the infinity, I try to go to something that's congruent, but something that's not in the middle. Not something that would have happened. Like, this is the societal middle. The societal center. If you do nothing, that happens. I want to have momentum. I want to come up with the most radical, like weird, like different thought. I want to go into a different place. If you want to go to a different place, you need to practice going into different directions. What about, if any case, one wants to become the destruction of humanity? That does technically exist, and that is technically a valid role in terms of the infinite soul consciousness. Technically, we have to accept them as an aware soul. Like, as an aware society, we have to say, hey, I understand you want to become a destroyer of humanity, but you may not do so in our universe. You may do so on your choice if you go back into the infinite and you find a society that agrees, hey, I want to live in a universe with the apocalypse. Go ahead. Sounds to me like what the ancients in Stargate talked about. Manipulate the scalar field by being kind with the Ori. What prevents and chaos from running rampant? Well, it's people's choice. Like, if you want to be a chaotic mother, like, I guess people will have the right to shoot you. Like, it's like, come on, man, please don't. Like, that's the only way we can like make this transition as a society. If we can have a discussion as a society and be respectful and intelligent. That's why I don't think aliens really want to talk to us. I wouldn't want to talk to these like bunch of feral monkeys. Like all these people like now I not like by doing this, by realizing that this is how reality works, I'm ambivalent, dude. I could just go and live it like a Buddhistic life and not care about you guys at all. I can be like, well, let me just think about my infinite and just leave everyone in the dust and kind of just you guys will come repeat your cycle of suffering. But I want humanity to have that chance. Like, why not give humanity a chance? You know, give humanity a fighting chance. Like, let's just talk about this, bro. If you learned all this in February, what did you know before that? I don't know what you mean. I just knew a lot of physics. I knew a lot. I knew all like fundamental physics where I felt pretty confident, and I learned the standard model. In that, I learned the binary theory of the universe, but I didn't learn the binary theory of the universe until and once I accepted the binary theory of the universe, I then suddenly got insight into the standard model, and I changed it. Like it was just a random thought. It just occurred to me. Sorry, no cussing. It just occurred to me February, randomly. Let us drag them down. No, I can't say that. Let us. I think they keep us. Yeah, they dumb us down to keep us stagnant and ignorant. I do agree. We need to just talk about this as a society. Just be civil. This exists. What are you gonna do about it? I've been depressed, seeking something different. I've been suffocating in this capitalistic lifestyle. I do very much agree. Thank you very much, Elisa Kanan. You're fired too. Yeah. I want you to basically realize that you can use this for good things too. You can use creative thinking. Like, you can go to the infinite. This is how good stories are made. This is how everything works. Like, you could be like a millionaire using this. You can sell good art. You can sell things that are good for humanity. You can make new foods. You can make new things by being creative. But you don't have to be evil. That's what I want to talk about. I want everyone to know this as a humanity, as a species. You can use this to make like, watch, here's an example. So we basically go to the coherence cone and we ask ourselves, like, we reach infinity using meditation? Yes, meditation is just flow of thoughts. Here's how it's done. Suppose you want to design like another great show like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Well, you're gonna honestly, like, you're gonna need to ask how to use this, like, on a daily, day-to-day basis. How does this apply? I use this by interacting with the algorithm, and it kind of gives me more spiritual comfort because I feel happy that, like, I try to, as an artist, creative flow is a state of connection and bliss. Absolutely. Like, just, like, enjoy life. Like, it's really, how to use this on a daily basis. I would definitely say for Jay Renar, you need to appreciate life. Like, just kind of vibe, kind of flow, kind of chill. Yeah, meditation is just the acknowledgement of the flow of thoughts. Acknowledge it. Just let it go. So let's just come up with an idea. Some idea that feels genuine. Whatever idea feels genuine to you, explore it. Even if it doesn't seem like it's good, just explore it. And then make another choice. And then make another choice. And you just keep going. Try to stay away with what's conventional. Stay away from the conventional normal. But notice that stories always have this wave. Good stories have a wave, and then they go back down to normalcy. But, I don't think you should necessarily stick with normalcy. You can probably end a story with a non-normal ending. But just play with it. Do you think medications for anxiety, etc. will interfere? They technically do, because I think anxiety is like a very overactive like binary. Like you're binarying things super fast. Like your brain is really good at that. Like it just does that over and over and over again. Like, oh shit, oh shit. Sorry, no cussing. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Danger, no danger, danger, no danger. Choice, no choice. This, not. Like you're really good at binaries, but too much to the point where you don't have enough. You're computing too much, is what I noticed. You don't have enough, what's it called, flow logic, like logic flows, like pre-built gates. Like this is literally how dams work. So we can have a lot, like how a logic dam works. You send electrons, you send information through, but you don't process it. You just let it flow from here, where it's like an algorithm, and then you just let it flow. It just flows for you from state to state, triggering binaries for you. And you trust that your dam system will sort the logic to the end for you. That is how that works. This makes a lot of sense as a programmer. Exactly. Like, your brain is just a computer. You're doing this binary logic and it hurts you. I noticed this because that's like I had to master myself before I realized everything like works the same way, before physics works the same way. Like that's by information works the same way. I had to trust that spiritual people were onto something. And yep, especially a game engine programmer. Exactly. It's really crazy how like gaming is gonna be like the future of consciousness. Everything you're saying makes so much logical sense. Like, well, this is how quantum computers are using particle physics to like rapidly compute things. It's really cool. But yeah, well, that's for another video. Any last questions? Any last discussions? Is love real? I think love is real, but it's as real as you want it to be. Like it's logic itself. Yes, the universe is logic itself. Like there's a binary tree for everything. Like watch, here's a very crude one. Exist. Does it exist? So there's like 0, 1. 0? If 0, stay 0. If 1, now you ask another question. Another binary question. All right. What category is it? Is this alive or non-alive? Because there are things that are non-alive. If it's no, that's fine. There's a new sorting algorithm. Is this 1? Is this 0? And you find the binaries. If it's alive, you then ask the question: are we like this? Is how a computer would see this? Because we're biased humans. We then ask: is it human or is it not? If it's not, it's 0. If it is, it's 1. And then you see how it works. Then you say in group. So like, are they my friends? In group, out group. And this is where prejudice comes from. Out group, act one way. In group, act another way. We need to be empathetic to extend this flow. And that is how, just one example, how you are just technically an algorithm. You're just an AI, because AI is just a decision tree. You're always making decision trees all the time. That's how you live, and that's what your personality is. Some decision tree. You can take decisions completely off the beaten path, but at the end of the day, you're going to eventually have to come back to yourself. You're going to have to come back to center, to whatever you decide your trees are. At the end of the day, you have to put everything as either a 1 or a 0, as it is or isn't. Your brain does this for you automatically. It relaxes, it resets. Boom, you have a new center. Boom, you have a new brain. Boom, you have a new direction of thought. Let's see, anything else? So let's look. So technically I can manage my anxiety if I grasp the logic and thinking? I think so. That makes so much sense. I know exactly what you're saying. Oh my fucking God. What do they not want you to tell us? Why do they not want you to tell us all this? Why are they hiding this knowledge? I think it's because, one, it applies to computers, it applies to math, it applies to physics, it applies to everything, it applies to binary, it applies to cognition, it applies to souls, it applies to it applies to everything. So because of that, because it applies to every duality in your life, you're then going to say, well, why should I? if I have this choice, even if free will doesn't exist, even if it does exist, why should I care? I'm me. I have choice now. You're telling me I can affect things. Yes. Well, why can't I affect my life then? Why do you get to choose? And the sooner you get to ask why, that is the danger. They don't like that. Literally everything logically quantifiable. Yes, everything is logically quantifiable, technically. It's just up to you how much information you're willing to keep. Interesting, reminds the Elon Musk Neuralink. He was able to tap into the brain's algorithm, right? I do agree. I do think so. Like everything is smaller specifications mixed with expressions of logic trees. Exactly, I do agree. Hey, but quick question. Let's say everything goes as planned for every person. What do you think of simulation theory? Like it fractals down to smaller and smaller speculations until it comes down to the 0 or 1 or the base. Precisely, dude. Yes. How would that apply for no identical thins? I mean, identical twins? For not identical things. Oh, well, it has its own tree, but they're very much similar. So that's why they're nearly identical. For speculation itself. For perception itself. Yes. Perception and specification is the same thing. That's what I'm trying to say. Every decision we make at a higher level is just about changing our own algorithm. Precisely. Life is based on borrowed knowledge. Precisely. Great statement, Madame de Mouse. Such as identity that are not for this planet or dimensions. Anyways, guys, that was a very good recording, and this will be posted to YouTube. Thank you, guys. We're probably going to start a discussion later today with my host, Josh, as well. I'm glad that we got to do this. Save your questions. We're going to do it again. Are humans the only ones with this algorithm? What about plants? I think plants have this algorithm as well. I think we're just one species that have just learned about this, But in reality, we're not the first species that have learned about this because this knowledge already exists. So we're all just experience, permutations of the infinite. Yes, you got it. We're all just freaking permutations. That's what I'm trying to say. You're just another permutation, so enjoy it, please. Enjoy it. Enjoy that this is here. Enjoy that you get to see blue. Enjoy that the universe exists. Enjoy that Ryzen exists. Enjoy that exists. Enjoy that glasses exist. Enjoy that matter exists. Enjoy that there's a system of information that exists that let you read this, that let you understand this, that lets the computer exist, the phone exist, the network, the infrastructure exists for us to finally say we have the choice. All the humans before us throughout human history had no idea about what this was. They all wanted to die. They all wanted to do anything for this knowledge. And we just have it now. And what do we do with it? We now know free will does exist technically, but it also doesn't exist the way you think it does. Free will exists because of randomness. Why? We don't know. We need to study that. Well, how does determinism work? You're just a computer, bro, technically. It's fascinating. What is this? Look, I had an awakening about this very dark but very awakening. Must be in the present. Because it's all going to go away, bro. It is going to go away. You're talking like Buddha logic. With all respect. It is, exactly. It is just Buddha logic. So just enjoy it. Have fun. That's why I think we should just be happy. We should spread happiness. But anyways, I'm dragging on right now. So choice we're at the end of the day. Yes, choice is what makes you who you are. Exactly. So what happens when you die? You go back to the scalar field and you get to experience whatever infinity you want. When I go back there, I'm just gonna stay there, bro. I'm not coming back. I don't want to come back. I'd rather play with my own infinity than someone else's. I'm done with this cycle. I'm staying. But I'm staying because I want to stay. It's my choice. That's what's cool about it. You're an amazing soul. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. You're an amazing soul. I think everyone's an amazing soul. Anyways, guys, love you. We're going to talk later.